And Gabriel Nassif survived 5 copies of Ignite Memories.
Oh, wow.
And there's a ranker as well, which Raphael Levy beating Ryan Liebert in the first feature match here from the World Magic Cup.
Oh, my God.
Top deck after top deck. Congratulations, Jean-Emmanuel.
Hi everyone, Rich Hagon here, welcoming you to episode 3 of Profiles. This week, in the company of Gabriel Nassif, Raphael Levy, and Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, we're talking all things France. So, dust off your je ne sais quoi, and let's go. Gabriel Nassif is one of Magic's elder statesmen, with a professional career that dates back over 20 years. He's tied with Kai Buddha for third in lifetime top finishes with 11, and was inducted into the Magic Hall of Fame in 2010. But it's actually been Nassif's second career that's been just as impressive. Yellow Hat, as he's known, has reinvented himself into one of Magic's premier streamers, and the Magic Pro League member is coming off a top 4 finish at the World Championship. Meet Gabriel Lilian Nassif, superstar Frenchman. You know, it took 1,100 matches to reach his first Pro Tour, but since then he's managed a top 8 berth at PT or GP every year since. Here's some Nassif numbers. After second place at London, teammates Nassif, Tenenbaum and Olivieri made it to the final of Pro Tour New York 2001, Kai Buddha and friends taking the crown. GP Prague was his trip to the top 8 in 2002, with PT Venice the following year. Then came a golden 12 months, where the cool cat in the hat was the dominant force in the game. PT New Orleans saw him get his third runners-up spot behind Richard Osterberg. Extended became block for PT Kobe when Nassif reached the final against Masashiro Kuroda, the Frenchman again just falling short. On to Worlds 2004, Nassif making yet another top 8 to take the Player of the Year title.
Hello and welcome to Pro Tour Atlanta.
Team victory came in 2005 when Atlanta was the stage for Nassif, Gab Sang and David Rude to take the title. Worlds 06 saw his Martyr Proclamation deck almost break the top 8 scoreboard. Back in harness with Tenenbaum, Grand Prix Amsterdam saw him second again. Even at 2 in the morning, the trademark grin and love of the game was evident. Near misses and heart-stopping actions seemed to follow Nassif around. Take the semi-final versus Patrick Chapin from Worlds 07. Needing to avoid Ignite Memories 5 times, we saw this, and this, and this, and this, and this.
Goodness! Gabriel Nassif survives 5 copies of Ignite Memories!
Holy wow. Thing is, even then, Chapin advanced to the final. His astonishing 6th final defeat came at Grand Prix Brussels in 2008, and then the moment. In desperate trouble in the top 8 of Pro Tour Kyoto 2009, Nassif needed a mighty top deck.
Sly smile on his face.
My ultimatum mana.
Oh, there's his ultimatum mana. That's the card that he wants. Cruel Ultimatum is the card he's hoping to top deck. And oh my God! Ultimatum! Off the top!
This time, nothing would go wrong. In a great final, Nassif saw off Louis Scott Vargas in a 5-game thriller. It took 2,852 matches, but now he stood on top of the world with the trophy to prove it. And then he won Grand Prix Chicago 2 weeks later. See, if at first you don't succeed, one of the best ever, Gabriel Nassif. The first time that you come to super prominence, despite the fact that you'd already made top 64 at just about every Pro Tour you played in early on, but of course that's not what goes in the history books. 2004, the first big year, you have a second place in New Orleans, second place in Kobe, and then you make the top 8 of the World Championship as well, and you become Player of the Year. Now, did you feel that you were the best player in the world at that time?
I'm not sure you ever think about that stuff, honestly, or I didn't think about that stuff back then. Just, I had a great year. I was a bit fortunate towards the end. Nikolai missed Worlds for flight reasons, passport reasons, where he couldn't go. And I beat him by a couple points, I think. I think he had won 2 Pro Tours that year.
He did. He won both the limited Pro Tours. This is Nikolai Herzog, of course. You said it didn't matter. It didn't matter to you then. Does the fact that you have been a Player of the Year, does that matter to you now? Do you look back and go, they will never take that from me?
Not that often, honestly. I don't really think about it that much. I feel like it's more about the journey, honestly. Sounds kind of cheesy, but it's more about the journey than the destinations.
Let's go on one year more to the team win at Pro Tour Atlanta 2005. Everyone dreams that they will find two people to play with and win a team Pro Tour. It's such a great experience. Who were your teammates? How did you three come together?
So my teammates were David Rude and Gab Tseng. Kind of the same way it happened for the first time we did well in teams. First time around, I really wanted to play with one of my best friends, Manuel, and we just needed a third. So we went to well, we didn't go, but we picked Nicolas Olivieri. He was from south of France. We were from Paris. He was from the south, and there's quote unquote no other good players left in Paris. Everyone was kind of already on a team, so he was kind of the best player in the south, so we teamed together. And this time it was different, but I really want to play with David Rude. We both had done really well in team tournaments. We were getting along well. I didn't really have like a dedicated team at that point, so I wanted to team with him, and he just suggested we team with Gab Tseng. And Gab had been playing very little Magic at that point. Well, not at that point, but at that, he wasn't playing a ton of Magic, but he was just a legend. I knew him from, he has 5 PT top 8s, 4 PT top 8s in the early years of the PTs. And Dirud, if Dirud was confident in him, then it was good enough for me. So just when was it? I'd never met him before the PT.
Major events in Magic, major moments in Magic seem to follow you around. Most people maybe get one special moment. You've had multiples. Tell us about New York Worlds 2007 and the famous Ignite memories.
People love that one. It's funny because that's the one that comes up the most often, more often than the Kyoto Curl Ultimatum. And I like the Kyoto Curl Ultimatum better because I win the tournament at the end. Whereas the Ignite Memories one, I just, I win this game, but then I think I made pretty bad mistakes in the last game. So it's, bittersweet a bit. But
sure.
Yeah, just playing against Patrick, we tested together. We build a deck together, and we end up playing each other in the semis of World. So it's pretty incredible. And just... he has Ignite Memories on the stack, lots of copies. I have, very low chance of winning the game. In game, I thought it was like close to 0. Like if you had asked me in game, I would have guessed it was like a couple percent, definitely under 5%. Ends up being like, I hit my 10%er. I was 1 out of 10 to come out of it alive, and we made it a good show.
Okay, well, you certainly did that not only in New York in 2007, but 2 years later in Kyoto 2009. Walk us through the Cruel Ultimatum moment.
Yeah, I'm playing against Matteo Orsini-Jones, game 5 of the quarterfinals, and I'm in a really bad spot. I'm not drawing down to just the ultimatum, but pretty much need a really good draw. I either need to draw that, or I need to draw a cryptic command just to live one more turn, tap his team, draw a card, maybe try to snowball from there. And I don't know what went through my head, but I decided to, call my shot and arrange my mana, trying to figure out how I could get out of this mess, and, just arrange my ultimatum mana. And something maybe some people don't realize is I was playing 2 ultimatum and I'd boarded 1 out, so I only had 1 left in my deck.
Nice. You had a huge amount of success in the 2000s, and you have a lot of success right now in the game. But there are probably people who you're sitting down to play against, whether online or in real life, who have no idea that you are a Pro Tour champion, who have no idea that you're a Hall of Famer, who have no idea about Cruel Ultimatums and Ignite Memories. Does it matter to you if they know that you are the Gab Nassif?
I don't think it matters too much. Sometimes people don't know who I am. Even at, pro tours, I've had people play me and not know who I am. I think it's kind of cool in a way and funny, but also cool that, they're qualified for the PT. They had their own journey. They don't even know who I am. And I don't know, it's kind of interesting and funny in some ways, but no, it doesn't, it doesn't matter. It's always, and they're like, oh, you're Gabriel Nassif. So I'm like, I kind of blush a bit and, get, a bit shy, but no, it doesn't really matter, honestly.
Gabriel Nassif, what's your favorite word or phrase in Magic?
What's my favorite word or phrase in Magic? I think my favorite thing about Magic is when I get to see my friends again. I don't know if there's a phrase, a word.
Okay, nothing in particular.
Maybe when Huey, when I see Huey at HPD and he's like, "What's up, Papa Hats?"
There we are. That's nice. Okay, what's your favorite color?
I guess I'd have to go with blue. No surprise here.
No.
I think my first deck was actually a mono blue deck. When I went to that tournament, my first series deck was mono blue control.
Oh, look at that. I'm such a fan. What's your favorite card?
I like Force Spike a lot. I've got a few that I only get to pick one.
Force Spike is a pretty disgusting Magic card. Good job. Do you like Mana Tithe as well?
Not as much.
Because he's not blue. Oh!
Not as good.
Oh, be still my beating heart. What turns you off? What don't you like?
I actually have an answer for that one. I really don't like pushy people. So when people try to sell me something or try to force me to do something, I instantly bag. That's a huge turnoff, if you're trying, yeah.
Other than gaming, what profession, if you were equipped to do it, what profession would you have liked to try?
I think I would have liked to be a basketball coach, maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why? Where does that come from?
I used to play basketball when I was younger, and I feel like coaching, whether it's, maybe, obviously I'll never coach an adult team now, but maybe I could still coach kids at some point.
Mm-hmm.
Just, I don't know, coaching sounds kind of fun.
Do you see that as kind of what you're doing with the stream in some way?
Yeah, maybe that's, I was thinking about that actually just now. Yeah, maybe it's related, just, helping others out. And also the strategy part, I guess, would be fun, to coaching, just come up with strategies and all that stuff, maybe.
Yep, ways to beat the metagame.
Yeah.
Okay, good stuff. All right, last question. If at some point in the future you are once again not involved competitively with Magic at a high level, what do you hope people will say about you as a Magic player and as a person?
I guess I hope people, think, yeah, Gav, he was pretty good, he was pretty good at Magic, and he was, treated others well, and I don't know, that's it, I guess.
Mm-hmm. Gabriel Nassif, Yellow Hat, Hall of Famer, Teller of Tales, the introvert entertainer. Thanks for being part of Profiles.
All right, thank you so much, Rich.
Raphael Levy is a Hall of Famer who holds the record for the most consecutive Premier events attended, and he's put together a career with success across 4 decades. He won the team title at the World Magic Cup in 2013 and most recently qualified for the World Championship. He skyrocketed to the Magic Pro League this year, and he's back at the top playing Elite Magic. What was the French scene like, or your local scene at least? Were there lots of good players, name players?
One of them, I'm sure. Mathieu Poujade.
I do.
He was, yeah, of course you do. And he was my main rivals back in the days. He was winning the tournaments, and I was so jealous. I was like, I have to beat this guy. He's winning the tournament. He had this, that was the time of Alliance. and he has this white-red he built. This white-red aggressive deck he built. He won regionals with it, and he won all the tournaments with it. Like, oh, man, this guy, I need to be better than this guy. And maybe Lucien Bui. He was part of our group. We're like 5 or 6 players, and he top 8'd Los Angeles in '99, I think. He was a regional champion as well, but like the big thing was the PT top 8. So that was a little group, and out of there, that's how we started preparing for tournaments together. We were preparing at a local bar, local cafe. It's the only place we could actually play with tables. Of course, we would get kicked out from one place to another because they didn't like, players with the cards. Play with cards, like taking all the tables. So we'd go from one place to another. That would actually.
All right, let's move on to the 2000s then. And in the 2000s, you have back-to-back Grand Prix wins in Dallas and Singapore, plus going to Worlds in Yokohama. That was all in 2007. Look, was that just coincidence, or did something really click for you in 2007?
So that was that was 2 months. They were all 2 months apart. I think Dallas was in like end of February. Singapore was the week later, and Yokohama was like the months later. So I don't exactly know what happened then. Maybe I was more motivated than ever to play. That was 7-7, so I already made the Hall of Fame the year before. And it felt like I need to prove something. So back then we had there were 5 inductees every year, and the fact that people were not sure they should vote for me, even though I had played the game for the longest at the time. That was in 2006. Like, oh yeah, he played a lot, but he hasn't had these flashy finishes. Like, yeah, but I've been always there. But yeah, but maybe he doesn't deserve it. I still made it, but I felt like I should, make these people not doubt their choices.
Right. Remove the uncertainty.
Yeah, I was in the Hall of Fame, and I heard he's there are better players out there. Yeah, they're probably better players, but they totally deserve this. So I'm gonna show them, and maybe that's one of the reasons.
As we head into the 2010s, something else comes into your life that, on the face of it, doesn't have a lot to do with magic, but I think probably does, and that's your involvement with martial arts. Tell us a bit about that.
So by 2010, so I'm about almost 30. It feels like I haven't accomplished what I want in life. Like, I know I've been a magic player, like relatively successful, but I'm missing something. I still don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I'm at 30, and I feel like I could do much more. And one of the ideas was I think it was GP Vancouver in 2008. I think I was I completely got out of the tournament on day 1. My deck was bad. I just went there, played with it like a deck I just picked up. The deck was terrible. I just traveled 20 hours for the GP I was not prepared for. Okay, Raph, let's sit down and reevaluate what what you can do and stuff. And at some point I thought, well, you're not stupid, but if you were to get in a fight, you can run, but that's not going to help you. Not every time. Okay, so when I got home, I was like, okay, I'm gonna start working on this. I'm not athletic, I'm not anything. I'm gonna start working out. I'm gonna start doing stuff. And then a little later, my good friend Matthias Jorstedt, that you should know, for Yokohama 2003 winner.
Yep.
Yeah, he a very good friend of mine in Sweden. He told me, well, why don't you do jiu-jitsu, Brazilian jiu-jitsu? It's what I do. It's great. Oh, okay, I'll try. And then I got home. The next day I went to the gym, and I thought, this is the hardest thing I've ever done in my life. I've seen people very strong people training. I've seen small people training, and they all seem to enjoy it. I did not enjoy it the first class. I didn't enjoy it because it was so painful and so I got home, my head was spinning. I wanted to throw up. I was exhausted. I didn't even know what I was doing.
Yeah, you say you weren't athletic. We can't tell on the webcam, but for those who don't know you in person, you are not a big guy. You are not a small human being.
I'm 170 and 60 kilos.
Right. Yeah.
And So I got home. I was like, man, this was the hardest thing. Like a physically, I had to take part physically. I had to take part in physically. I need to do it. I need to prove that I can do it. I signed up the next day, and then never quit. And now I'm a brown belt, which is like the next step is the black belt, and that's not something you get by just attending. You're not given the belt because you've been there for long enough. You're given the belt because you achieve something and you get to a level of techniques that you deserve. Like you won't see someone with a brown or black belt that completely sucks and that hasn't put the time on the mat, the sweat and everything. And I enjoy it, and that's part of my life. In a time where I needed to put things together and have everything sorted. That's also the time where I met my wife. Mm-hmm. That I think that's the time where I actually improved as a person, and that's just part of it. You say, "Oh, some people would say I got a job, I got a dog." For me, it was mostly get more self-confidence, and sports was one of it, especially martial arts. And this sport was extremely good for that because it helps you build this confidence you need to face the outside world. And so, there's an analogy I like to use. Like, if you can fight, you would not get your ass kicked in a fight, even if it's not gonna happen like anytime soon. You get this confidence, you could defend yourself, and you can talk back to people who talk you down in a way that makes you look more confident. And people like that. People around you like that. People around you respect you for this. And this is a virtuous circle.
Yes.
Like you get more confident. People look at you as oh, this guy is confident, so let's treat him with respect. And then you respect people, and then it goes like up and up. And this is how you become like happier with yourself and happier in general.
Right.
So that was a big part of it.
You mentioned your wife Monica, and we can hear in the background your fabulous son Levan. How much difference have they made to the way you view magic and its place in your life?
So for a very long time, because I started very early. I started the game like when I was 12, as I mentioned. At every step of my life, the game was there. When I went to high school, the game was there. When I went to university, the game was there. When I didn't know what to do with my life, the game was there. And that's what pretty much kept everything together for me. And that's why I wrote that article in 2017 when my son was born, and I missed Pro Tour Albuquerque. That was very emotional for me, for obvious reasons. And people did not understand why I took it so personal that I missed the PT. Like, yeah, it's just a PT. Come on, you played 100 of, like 94, 95 of them. What's the big deal with this? And I said, well, look, the PT has been a part of my life the whole time. And my schedule for the last 20 years has been, okay, I'm going to do this, and it's going to be the PT. So I try to, there's always been this very important part of my life. In the schedule of my year, I have this schedule. I put all the events and how to prepare. And then this was like this big hole, like, oh yeah, but I'm not going there. So maybe it was not important. Like, of course it was not really important. Now I look back at it like, yeah, whatever. But back then it was like, I attended like all these PTs in a row. That's what I had for myself, That was the record. That was the active streak of 90 something.
Yep.
But now, of course, that's irrelevant. And what was I saying again? Oh yeah, it's important because there've been now he's around, and she's been around for a long time too, and she's always been supporting me and in the choice I made with the game. For a long time, I didn't know what to do. The game was around, but I was trying to do some translation work, some other jobs that was just not made for me. When I embraced the fact that I was playing Magic for a living, that I was writing articles for a living, everything went better, and she supported that. And when we got married, that was for the best and for the worst. like she knew she would be traveling with me. She knew I would not have a regular schedule of working hours.
Yep.
And yeah, that was a big part of it. I know before that, my past relationships did not accept that that I can sleep till 10 on on weekdays, because my job is not every day. It starts at 8.
Mm-hmm.
And like, no, but get a regular job. No, that's my job. That's my life. That's what I do. And it's hard to understand for a lot of people. And I know like some relationships can't work like this, but she's been great. She's always great. And little one is great too. And little 2 is coming in October, November.
Oh, fantastic. Great
So
stuff.
it's going to be even harder, but that's okay.
So here we are. We're in the 2020s. You are someone who has had success in 4 decades, and there you are at the World Championship again, mixing it with everyone, the new, the slightly ago, and the people who've been around forever like yourself. What do you think you've got left to prove in the game, if anything?
So I came to a point where I know my weaknesses, I know my strength, and I know it would take, I know I can still win, but it would probably be much harder for me to win than for a very talented newcomer to win. It's hard to say, but I accepted that. I know I can have very good tournaments and I can play well from beginning to the end, but I know that the fact that I'm almost 40 makes it harder to focus, to not throw a game because I just forgot about one card or something. That just happens, and more often now than before, which is a little worrying. But it's still, I can't still play at high level, and it feels really bad that I can't play 100% all the time. So if I could prove something to, I don't know, I don't need to prove anything to anybody, if to myself, that I can still do it. And yeah, I mean, if I could win like big tournaments again, I mean, it's going to happen. It's always happened when you feel down, you feel like, oh yeah, I can't win anymore. Boom, there's another tournament and that you win, and it feels great and boosts your, gives you a little ego boost. It's been like this my whole career. I'm always like, how do you say it? Down talking? No, putting myself like a little lower than I should be.
Mm-hmm.
This is the way I've been very judgmental about myself. Like, talking me down, saying, well, Raph, if you're not the best, you just suck. There's no middle ground. And that's why sometimes, even on stream, like when I stream, I say, oh man, I suck so bad. I'm so stupid. And yeah, okay. Sometimes I make some mistake, but I'm probably somewhere around, there instead of just there. But to me, it feels like if I make a small mistake, I always go back there instead of just staying there. I don't know if it makes much sense, but yeah. That's how so I've been looking at the game from my perspective. And sometimes people who don't know me, it's like, man, this guy must suck because he just says he sucks all the time. But it's like when you look for perfection and you're not perfect, that's how you see it.
So, Raph Levy, what's your favourite word or phrase in Magic?
Favorite word or phrase? And I know you gave me the question, but it's still very hard to answer. Favorite word? The good game from the losing part. That's the best one.
What excites you in life? What turns you on?
The perspective of doing better than before and finding new ways to make people happy around me and make myself better.
Mm-hmm. What turns you off? What don't you like in life?
Messing things up, failing at something I started, not achieving the best results I could possibly, get.
Okay.
That's what keeps me up at night when I don't feel good.
What's your favorite curse word?
Well, I'm a Frenchman, Putain comes back very often.
Yeah, that's 2 for 2 so far. Okay. Other than gaming, if you were equipped to do it, what profession would you like to try?
That's a question I ask myself about 1,000 times every minute for 10, 15 years. And I couldn't find the answer. That's why I'm still playing Magic to this day. So I don't think there's an answer to this. There's no answer. That's those things I can't do. And I tried other things, and that's what I do. I would not do anything else.
Okay. If at some point you're no longer playing Magic competitively, something I think neither of us can really imagine, what do you hope people will say about you as a Magic player and as a person?
This is a nice guy. Hope that's what people remember of me. He was a nice guy, and he could play some Magic.
Raph Levy, Hall of Famer. The 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, the 2020s. Let's do it all again in the 2030s. Thanks for being on Profiles. Magic Pro League member Jean-Emmanuel Depraz is quickly moving towards matching his two Hall of Fame countrymen. He's got 2 top finishes in the past 2 years, with a modern top 8 in 2018, followed by a finals finish at Mythic Championship 5 last year, where he lost a hard-fought final to Javier Dominguez. But he qualified for the World Championship anyway, since Dominguez was already qualified. He went on to make the top 8 at Worlds. Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, welcome to Profiles. What do people call you? Do they call you J.E. or Jean or Jean-Emmanuel?
Yeah, most people in France call me J.E., which is the French pronunciation of J.E.
J.E.?
Yeah, J.E.
Okay.
But you don't have to do it the French way.
Okay, but not many people call you Jean-E Depp, which is, of course, how I think of you.
Oh, no, nobody calls me that, but I like it. That's the first time I hear it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh,
actually,
yeah.
it's the first time.
That's been entertaining us for years. Okay, so let's go right back to the start. Tell us about family life growing up. Were games a big part of your childhood?
Yes, we were playing mostly Tarot, the card game.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's pronounced that way, but
yeah.
But yeah, my great uncle was actually playing Tarot for most of his adult life in a club in his village. So we had what we called Tarot evenings, where we gathered on holidays with my uncle and other family members.
Uh-huh.
But it was never really competitive. Like I have a family that loves games, but isn't really competitive about them.
So it's about the fun of exploration, or?
Yeah, mostly like an opportunity for being together and sharing something, but they don't really care about results as much as I do.
Okay, so when did Magic find you, or did you find Magic?
So I was taught the game by a cousin when I was 11, and for a few years I didn't really get into it. Like I found a store, one of the shops in Paris, and I started going to that shop, but I didn't play competitively for 4 or 5 years. That started around 2015, 16, 2011. Sorry, 11.
Okay, so what changed?
I guess I started knowing more and more people, and at some point I met people who are grinders and who were going to PTQs, and they offered me spots in their cars. So yeah, I started going on road trips with friends to PTQs, and that's when the competitive spirit lighted.
Was there ever a time in those mid-2010s where you imagined a time where Magic could be a true profession? Because we talk about Magic Pros, but Magic Pros just historically have meant the people who are good at Magic, not people who are necessarily making a living.
I thought about it all the time. Like,
oh, wow.
Yeah, it was a dream of mine, but I didn't know if it was reachable at some point. The Magic Pro League obviously didn't exist. There were the gold, platinum rankings, but platinum was very far. I had never made silver at that point, so I didn't know if I would one day be able to earn regular money from Magic.
Sure.
And it's the sort of thing where you feel like you're capable of something, but you have never proven it yet, so you don't know how real this is. Like I felt potential in myself to do better, and I saw my mistakes, and I wanted to play better, but I didn't know if I would be able someday to make fewer mistakes.
Okay, so let's talk about the 3 tiers of success you've had. We begin with Warsaw 2017, the Grand Prix. It's standard, you're playing 4-color energy. And of course, you started that weekend with an incredibly hard-fought victory in a draft on Friday evening against me.
That's true, actually. Yeah, I remember that. And you told me, I don't know what you told me, but you told me something that sounded very prophetic after that.
Something like, see you on Sunday night.
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Yeah. And the true story of that is that because I was producing the coverage, I very rarely see the feature match area. And it wasn't until, I think probably into the semi-finals, that I finally had time to sort of look around the corner and suddenly realised that this Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, who I had never heard of, was the same Frenchman who I had played for fun on Friday. It was quite an adventure. Did you feel that you were equipped to win a Grand Prix when you did win a Grand Prix?
I sort of understood it gradually. Like during day one, I didn't really expect to go that far, but yeah, the more you rack up wins, the more you start thinking about it and feeling like you can go all the way. The funny thing about that weekend is that the weekend before, a lot of people don't know that I was playing the PT the weekend just before. In the same standard format, but with a different deck. I was playing mono red. And it was a very important PT for me because it had taken me 3 years to requalify. This was my second PT, and 3 years had passed since my first one. So I really wanted to do well at that PT, and I went 06. So this was a really tough experience.
Wow.
And then flash forward 1 week, there's GP Warsaw, and I decide to play something that suits my playstyle more and to not care about the results. Like I'm in a very positive mindset where I don't expect anything anymore because I just went 06 the weekend before. And I tell myself whatever the result is, I'll be happy with it. And then I win the GP.
So had you put yourself under pressure for the Pro Tour, and did you suffer because of it?
I think so, yes. I think so. I think I'm very sensitive to pressure. I don't handle it that well.
Are you really?
Yes, I am.
We would never guess. You seem so relentlessly calm.
I don't express many emotions. I guess since then I've become better at handling these things.
Right.
I don't care that much about winning than in my PTQ years.
Okay.
In my PTQ years, I really needed it. Like I was desperate for it because I didn't know where I was going in life, and there was this light at the end of the tunnel that I had to reach. And now my life is more stable. I've met a lot of people. I feel comfortable enough to do badly in tournaments. I don't care that much, so it's easier.
Wow, that is astonishing though. 06 at the PT into winning Warsaw. So that's sort of level 1, if you like. Let's go to 2018, and there are 2 events there that happen. First of all, in Modern, you make the top 8 of Pro Tour Rivals of Ixalan with Death's Shadow. And then at the end of the year, you are part of the winning French World Magic Cup team.
Yes.
Now, obviously, only one of those 2 events is a win, but which of those 2 mattered most to you?
The World Magic Cup win mattered.
It was? Okay.
Way more, yeah. I would say my happiest memory in competitive Magic is winning GP Warsaw because of the circumstances. Like I was in a all-time low and then an all-time high. But yeah, the World Magic Cup would be my second.
When you played there, I am sure it felt very, national and French and wrapped in the flag. When you play as you, do you feel French or are you very much just you?
So I thought very hard about this question, and it's not easy to answer. I don't believe in the idea that I don't really feel French on a day-to-day basis.
Yep.
Like I don't feel national pride, except that I'm proud of French culture, basically. Like my pride comes more from France's cultural legacy and the bond I have with French literature and the language.
Uh-huh.
But that doesn't make me endorse whatever France does.
Sure.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the way I feel French basically because I speak French and read French, and because of the French Magic community, which is great. But I'm sure, like if I were born somewhere else, I would also feel proud of my community. I think all Magic communities are great around the world.
So we have the Grand Prix win in 2017, we have the Pro Tour Top 8 and the World Magic Cup win in 2018. Last year, we go to Mythic Championship 5. It's on Arena, of course, and you're playing Bant Golos. And the truth is that you had, along with Stan Sifka, the best record in the tournament heading in to the final day. 5-0 on day 1, and that was you taken care of. 5-2 on day 2. Obviously, you were so close to winning the whole thing. Are you someone who naturally goes, that was a brilliant achievement, look how far I got? Or are you naturally someone who goes, I didn't win?
So I don't care that much about winning, as I said,
Yep.
but I care about playing better. And I was a little disappointed that I didn't do better at that tournament. Watching back the games, I think I had the tools to probably win the whole thing and didn't use them. So yeah, it stings a little. Like you're always thinking about what you could have done differently, and there are things I could have done differently in the finals.
Now, I know that I will never be in that position. Do you sit there going, if I had had another hour to think about it, I could have done something different? Or do you watch it and know that in real time you just did it wrong?
No, I mean, if I had another hour to ponder all the plays, I obviously would play better, but that's also the reality of competition. Like,
Right.
time is a factor, and Pierre Dagen says that if everybody was given infinite time to think about all the plays, nobody would make a single mistake. And I think it's not exactly true, but yeah, it captures a lot of what it's about.
Well, Gabriel Nassif, who is on this episode with you, once said to me in one of my earliest interviews in 2004, he said, what you have to remember about every good Magic player is that they've all made almost infinite mistakes in order to be a good Magic player.
Yeah, and they keep making them. Like I keep making mistakes in every game, every single game I play. Like maybe not every single game. Sometimes my opponent molts to 5, and I don't have many decisions to make. But most games you make mistakes in, and that's okay, and you have to live with it.
So here we are in 2020. GP, Pro Tour Top 8, World Magic Cup win, second at a Mythic Championship. Where would you like your Magic career to go if you had the choice between winning one giant win and then forever you're part of Magic history, as opposed to multiple years as a member of the MPL and just being one of the best players? Which of those do you prefer?
I just want to stay relevant in some capacity, like not fall out of competitive Magic. Still be able to pick good decks and follow the flow. It's not that much about results than about feeling relevant and feeling good about your play skill for me. I think if I had to pick one more accomplishment, I would like the World Magic Cup to come back and then France to win it a third time with me in the team. That would be my choice.
Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, what's your favourite word or phrase in Magic?
Wait.
Yes! That's a winner! What's your favourite card?
Birthing Pod.
Oh,
Birthing
really?
Pod.
Why?
So it's a card I am emotionally attached to because I played it in Standard when I was a kid. I played it in Modern at some GPs before it was banned. I always play it in Cube, like that's one of my favorite cards to draft around. So yeah, I love that. I love tutors. I love cards that offer you choices, and this is the card that offers the most choices if your deck is built properly.
What's the best deck you ever played?
I want to say Timur Energy, but I think it's not correct. Yeah, I'm going to go with 4-color Energy in
Which
Warsaw.
you won Warsaw, okay.
Yeah. I don't think it was the best deck for the tournament, like in the tournament, the best version, I mean. I'm sure there are other lists that were better because mine was finished at 3 a.m. With sideboard cards that I just couldn't put in my main deck, so I put them in the sideboard. But, yeah, the archetype was really good.
Yeah, that is for sure. And what would you say would be one of the best decks of all time?
In my years of playing, I would say it's Sultai Oko or any of the blue-green based Oko builds during Okotober.
Sure. Okay. What turns you on? What excites you in life?
Beauty, in a very broad sense, but mostly intellectual beauty. Like I like ideas that I found beautiful, phrases, verses. I love poetry, so yeah, maybe in a more specifically words. I love words.
What turns you off? What don't you like?
Anything that tells people how they should behave or how they should feel. Like anything normative, I heavily dislike.
Other than gaming, if you had the ability to do it, what profession would you like to try?
I feel like I would have made the most of my life if I write a novel that people enjoy. And I try writing, but yeah, there are still some obstacles. I feel like I have to read more and to experience more before I can actually do it.
Have lived a bit more life.
Yeah, but yeah, at some point I want to write a book.
Okay. And final question. If at some point you're not playing Magic competitively anymore, what do you hope people will say about you as a Magic player and as a person?
I would like people to say that I inspired them in some way, like both as a Magic player and as a person, like that I made them see things they didn't see previously. Like, for example, the thing that people say to me that matters to me the most is when I made a play that blew their minds. That's something I care about, like because there is beauty in it. Like I think there's a form of hidden beauty in the game, like when there are mind games and situations where you can make very specific plays with a very specific timing, and when someone pulls that off, it's beautiful. And yeah, I would like people to remember that about me, but it doesn't happen to me that often. Like,
Okay, Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, Grand Prix, World Magic Cup, Pro Tour, Mythic Championship, member of the MPL. Thanks for sharing your view of the world and the beauty that's in it on Profiles.
Thank you.
Thanks to Gabriel Nassif, Raphael Levy and Jean-Emmanuel Depraz, and to you for watching this episode of Profiles. If you want to watch more episodes of this and other exciting Magic the Gathering esports content, please subscribe.